Hello, everybody. Welcome into Primetime Pregame. I'm Katie Mox. We got a packed show ahead. MLB best bets. We got some WNBA action and plenty of value across the board. But let's be for real right now. The NFL is back and kicking off tonight. The season is finally here. The Eagles and the Cowboys get us started. And we've got all of the betting angles that you need. Yes, baseball. Yes, basketball. Sure. But tonight, it is really all about football. And as you see there, Cowboys and Eagles, the defending champs, will be hanging their Super Bowl banner tonight against their rival in Dallas. It's a new era for the Cowboys under Brian Schottenheimer, but they'll have to try to prove themselves without Micah Parsons. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts and Saquon and the rest of those Eagles looking for another dominant start in the NFC East. And we're now joined by Jeff, Kerr, and Garrett Podell to break down tonight's NFC East showdown. Garrett, I'm going to start with you on the Cowboys side of this. It's a heated rivalry, right, to kick off the season, but the Cowboys enter with a lot of change, less than a week removed from the Parsons trade. How has Brian Schottenheimer tried to keep everyone focused on tonight's game?
Hey, Katie, happy football to you too. And I would say the big emphasis for Brian Schottenheimer has been just celebrate football being back. Let's have fun. The Cowboys, they actually have a 10-foot basketball goal installed in their team meeting. And on Tuesday, the day after the UNC-TCU game, the starting running back, Javonte Williams, and all-pro return man and wide receiver, Kevontae Turpin, TCU and UNC alums, their lockers are right next to each other. In front of the whole team, they had a shooting contest. He said, let's see, grudge match, UNC-TCU is going to win. Turpin won, so TCU went up 2-0. So for Schottenheimer, he said, let's play loose, let's play free. This is football. So the focus has really been on fun and football. And then Dak Prescott said to me that it's kind of a relief that the Parsons situation is done. If we were still asking questions about what was going to happen this week, that, he said, would have been a distraction. But he said, obviously, it's not the outcome they wanted, but it is somewhat of a relief. And the deal has allowed the team to move forward in a way.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. You don't want those questions. They're moving forward. They're having fun. Hey, they're even playing a little bit of basketball. Jeff, on the other side, the vibes are a little bit different in Philly, right? They are unveiling their Super Bowl banner and starting their title defense here. What has Nick Sirianni said about this matchup and the challenge that Dallas presents right out the gate? Because you don't want to sleep on the Cowboys.
Not at all, Katie, and it is buzzing here at Lincoln Financial Field tonight. I will say that there is a banner getting unveiled, but Nick Sirianni apparently does not know that. He admitted that to us on Tuesday. And one thing I like about this Eagles team is they are so focused on 2025. Unlike 2018, they were so focused on repeating and trying to repeat as Super Bowl champions. This team is looking for another banner to be raised, but in a different way. The Cowboys are just their week one opponent. This isn't Dallas week to this team. Jalen Hurts has said it multiple times. Look, okay, we play the Cowboys week one. So what? It's Josh Uche. I talked to him. He said, this team is so focused. And remember, he's one of the 20 new guys on this roster. They are so focused on just preparing for that week's opponent. And he could tell by this training camp, this team isn't resting on its laurels of winning a Super Bowl championship. They are trying to get another one. It's just the way this team is geared. In a way, Katie, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are kind of like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It's on to the next one.
Gosh, man, that's some high praise there. On to the next one. And hey, I believe it. On paper, they are constructed very, very well. But Jeff, let's stick with the Eagles here. There are some new faces on defense after losing Darius Slay, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and Milton Williams. Who should we key in on tonight as someone expected to step up in a bigger role on the defensive side?
Well, definitely first-round pick Jahai Campbell. He is expected to start at off-ball linebacker next to All-Pro Zach Vaughn, and Jahai Campbell had a tremendous camp for this team, Katie. I mean, look, he was in the battle with Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Trotter Jr. played well, but not at the level Jahai Campbell played at, and that's what the Eagles got when they traded up to get him at 31 overall. So Jahai Campbell's going to be a player to watch tonight. I would expect Vic Fangio to play him an off-ball linebacker, have him rush the passer. Another player who was on this team last year but did not get a lot of snaps. He's expected to have a big role this year is Moro Ojomo, the defensive tackle from Texas, former 7th-round pick. He'll be behind Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis there. He had a tremendous camp. Dory Jackson is expected to start in place of Darius Slay at that CB2. Now, Darius Slay's on with Pittsburgh, obviously, but opposite Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell's probably going to be chasing CeeDee Lamb a lot, so you're going to see a lot of Adoree Jackson on George Pickens. And Andrew Makuba was a full participant in practice, the Eagles' second-round pick. He was the front runner to be the safety opposite of Reed Blankenship going into camp. I think Andrew Makuba is going to get the start tonight. Nick Sirianni would not reveal his starters, obviously, but it looks like it's going to be Makuba at safety. So 5 new starters on defense, a lot of question marks, but Vic Fangio got this unit from 22nd to 1st in the year. We'll see what he can do with these guys.
Yeah, we trust in Vic Fangio, that's for sure. But Garrett, the Cowboys may have lost a defensive star, but they did add George Pickens to the offense. How does that change what that unit can do? And could that be a factor right away against Philly?
It's a great question, Katie, and the Cowboys think that can change everything. When I spoke to CeeDee Lamb this week, he discussed being, quote, very excited. He said he can't help but call his brother, call his family, call his team to relay how pumped up he is to play alongside George Pickens. Because last year, I mean, CeeDee was a second-team All-Pro, but really there wasn't another secondary threat. So he was one of the top 2 most double-team players in the NFL, along with Jamar Chase last year. But now he's got Pickens. And Pickens is somebody who, among the 61 players with at least 110 catches since 2023, 16.7 yards per catch. That's number 1 in the NFL among those 61 players who caught that many balls across the last 2 years. So he's an explosive downfield threat. And Pickens, though, he's excited. That's what he was in Pittsburgh. He was a downfield vertical guy. But he said that he's, quote, schematically free playing with the Cowboys because he's excited about being put in motion and going over the middle, having intermediate routes, having much more varied route tree. He feels like that will allow him to show much more of his game and also help out CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott in this passing game a ton here in 2025.
Well, I need him for an anytime touchdown, so I hope that you're right with that. Finally, to both of you, what's the biggest thing that you're most interested in seeing tonight when the Eagles and the Cowboys square off? And Garrett, we'll start with you.
I think for me, it's the Cowboys offense. I just touched upon Pickens and Lamb. But really, what's this run game going to look like? Because for years when the Cowboys were performing really well, winning 12 games, it was Tony Pollard going for over 1,000, Ezekiel Elliott going up for over 1,000. Last year, Rico Dowdle got hot down the stretch and went for over 1,000, but this was the 6th worst rushing offense in terms of rushing yards per game last season. So I'm very curious to see what's Javonte Williams, the new lead running back, going to do. I spoke with him this week, and he's talked about how his body feels really good. He had a gruesome knee injury 2022, tearing his ACL, MCL. Cowboys held him out of the preseason. He said that was a pleasant surprise to him, but he feels as good as he's going to get, and he's ready to repay that confidence. And then we'll also get to see how good his first-round pick, Tyler Booker, 12th overall pick out of Alabama, All-American guard, going up against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So if the Cowboys can even get some semblance of a run game going against Philadelphia, that will open up the play-action game and the deep shots to Lamb and Pickens. So really, my eyes are on Brian Schottenheimer's offense. He said it's been, quote, a 7-iron, keeping things vanilla in the preseason, but going to unleash everything they got here tonight. So what's that going to look like in the run game to set up the pass game?
Yeah, well, it could only go up from last year, Garrett, when we're talking about the run game. So I'm interested to see that as well. And Jeff, what's the most intriguing thing from the Philadelphia side that you're looking for tonight?
Well, Katie, I'm curious to see if the Cowboys are going to essentially stop Saquon Barkley, or at least try to contain him, right? And the Cowboys did not have a good run defense last year. Jerry Jones preached that the trade of Micah Parsons was to make the run defense better. They do have Kenny Clark. I think he's going to be a little limited tonight because he's only been on this team for 6 days. I don't expect him to make a major impact, but can they do what the Pittsburgh Steelers did? Can they do what the Kansas City Chiefs did in the Super Bowl? Just sell their soul to contain Saquon Barkley and have Jalen Hurts beat them. Well, Jalen Hurts beat them both times, but I don't know if you can stop Saquon because they don't have the personnel to slow him down. And Saquon had 167 rushing yards against this team last year, including getting his 2,000th rushing yard against Dallas. So I don't know if Saquon's going to get 31 carries like he did in that Week 17 game last year, but he's not going to get only 14 like he did in the first game. I think he'll get a mixture between 18 and 20, maybe about 20 to 25 if the Eagles can get a run game going and get the early lead here. But I wouldn't be surprised if Saquon had 100 rushing yards tonight. He has something to prove this year. And he spoke to Emmitt Smith. He told me this. He spoke to Emmitt Smith about staying consistent. How do you stay consistent after a 2,000-yard season? And Emmitt never had that, but he was consistent every single year of his career. That's what Saquon wants to do. That is his goal. And so I'm really curious to see how Saquon steps up in a big way.
I'm here to see that as well. And his line for carries set at 18.5 tonight, Jeff. So kind of right in line with where you think he will be. Garrett, you had one more thing you wanted to say to us.
Yeah, Jeff was talking about how much are we going to see of Kenny Clark. Well, I've had a chance to speak with him at Cowboys practice this week, and he said, look, I'll be ready to go. I was practicing in Green Bay. Micah Parsons, he held out of practice. Kenny's been practicing all summer, and he said if I got to play 20 plays, 30 plays, 50 plays, 70 or more, he's ready to roll. So for Dallas, you can expect Kenny Clark will be on the field and play a regular starter's amount of snaps there in the middle of that defensive line against Saquon Barkley.
All right. I absolutely love it. Jeff, enjoy the game and take in all that pomp and circumstance. And Garrett, good luck to your team. And here's just a preview of what we're going to see tonight with the Cowboys and those Eagles. Dallas 7-10 record last season after 3 straight 12-5 seasons. Will they be able to bounce back? And this is a rivalry game, the 133rd game in this rivalry, of course, including the playoffs. Dallas leading that series 74-58, but Philly making up some serious time there. And it's banner night in Philly, and the rivalry in the NFC East is hot. Eagles and Cowboys under the primetime lights. But before kickoff, it's time to talk numbers. Ken's and Sia in studio next.